on both websites. So, yeah, we're going to be doing some good old-fashioned Explorer today. Izzet Pheonix, the usual. Gotta get that constructed rank up. Also, I need to get better at playing this deck because I feel like I'm not very good at it. Alright. We have a billion cantrips. I think we keep this. Enemy sleight of hand on one. Don't need another billionth cantrip, so I guess we'll take a third land. Opponent is playing a Battlefield Forge, and they're playing aggro. Okay, so I think I play Steam Vents tapped, get the tap land out of the way, and I can consider or Flood Maw their hero if they go crazy with it. Either one could happen. Yep. So they're putting counters on that, and this doesn't kill it, so I can let them make the attack and possibly pump it even more. Pass to blockers. Alright, I wasn't able to get like a Reckless Rage or anything, or Monstrous Rage out of them. So, we'll just bounce it. Alright, they had Protection Spell. That's good for them. That's definitely good for them, but it didn't increase its power any, so it's not really bad for me. I'll take the Pheonix. And I guess we pass. It's worth considering, like, consider looking for a burn spell to kill this. I think we would do this in combat. Nope, just a land. Alright, we don't have the interaction we need. Illuminator Virtuoso, that's... These red-white aggro decks don't normally play that, right? Am I crazy? That's not normal, I think. Alright, so we have 6 cards in graveyard. We definitely cast Sleight of Hand here. And I think we grab Lightning Axe. And we're going to bring back a Pheonix here. Flood Maw is probably better. So now I can try once again to return that. And I just realized I actually needed to Lightning Axe to get the Pheonix in the bin. So that's a little bit of a whoopsie, but ultimately I think... Alright, they're pumping up their double striker. So I might die here if they have a Monstrous Rage. Or just a bunch of other things. They're playing Reckless Rage as well. There's another thing I think isn't normal. So basically one more pump spell, and I'm dead. Alright, they didn't have the one more pump spell. So that's nice. Alright, so we are at 3, which is very bad, but we can kill the Illuminator Virtuoso. That's one spell. Treasure Cruise is spell number 2. Get back Pheonix. And I guess Free the Fae will be spell number 3. And we have a Lightning Axe, which is great. I think we have to stay on defense here. We need a blocker in case our Lightning Axe doesn't kill the Hoplite. Or if they play a haste creature, that's also pretty scary. I was just reading a Reddit thread the other day about how Pheonix folds to aggro in game 1 especially, and yep, I agree. Oh, they didn't attack. That's kind of exciting for me. I guess I'll try to kill the Hoplite anyway. See if they have a defensive thing that they want to use now. Okay, Reckless Rage. That doesn't really make much sense, because why wouldn't they do that and then attack me for lethal? Like, that was just clearly a better option, I think. So we are going to Treasure Cruise once more. And hopefully spin into the gas that we need. Alright, so that's 1 spell. This is 2 spells. This is 3 spells. I don't think we need Owara. And I guess we play a tap land. And there's really not much chance of Spell Pierce being relevant, so I'm gonna play a Vigilance guy. And I am going to start attacking with my Pheonix. Have another blocker, which hopefully will be enough. There's a good chance Picklock Prankster alone won't be enough to save the day, but they are just passing. Alright, so I can Pheonix and Prankster this turn and play a tap land. So again, I think the odds of Spell Pierce being relevant are very slim. I'm just going to put them to 3 and have 2 blockers back. Alright, we stole game 1. We absolutely stole game 1. So I'm going to bring in my sweepers. A null is probably not good against them. They're mostly creatures. Yeah, they're mostly creatures. Spell Pierce could be good, maybe, but that's gonna. A lot of their stuff is cast triggers, so Spell Pierce only partially solves the problem. And Prismari Command is a 2 damage burn spell. It's not exciting though. And Third Path Iconoclast can create some blockers, I guess. Also not super exciting, but probably fine. And then Sleight of Hand is sorcery speed, and I would love to be able to hold up instant stuff with Consider an Opt instead. So of all the things to cut, I think it's going to be that one. Alright. No lander. Easy mulligan. You know what they say, no lands, no keep. Alright, so this is awkward against an aggressive deck. We don't have any interaction, but we do have 2 cantrips. And I can't really afford to be going to, like... I can't really afford to mulligan too much. Alright, so they're leading off fast with a Swift Spear. Not surprising. Alright, I have the Fiery Impulse. I'm going to do it now while they're tapped out. Just get rid of their creature. That's a great top deck. Alright, they have another Swift Spear. And they're attacking me for 1 again. And no second land for them. That's interesting. Alright, so do I opt/consider for a removal spell, or do I take their Stumbling as an opportunity to get Artist's Talent down? I think I take their Stumbling as an opportunity to get this down. It just makes it way more likely that I can find my stuff later. They are still just attacking for 1. I'm going to play an untapped land so that I can double cantrip into a removal spell if necessary. They are just going to attack for 1 again. If they're not going to try anything, I'm just going to take 1 and cantrip on end step. Alright, the graveyard is not very stocked at the moment, but it probably will be shortly with Artist's Talent going, so I'm going to keep the Treasure Cruise. I don't think I need 2 Treasure Cruises, though. There's a Pheonix. That's lovely. I'm going to just get that in the bin real quick. Floodmaw Interaction. Floodmaw Interaction. I'm kind of worried because my graveyard is not super stocked, and I don't really have more cantrips to stock it. I think we have to get rid of that and try for even better. Alright. Anger of the Gods is great, but I think for now we run out second Artist's Talent and toss the Pathway. So at this point, I don't want to Treasure Cruise because my Pheonix is the 7th card and I need that. So I'm just going to pass. Just going to pass and see what they are up to. Alright, they have a cantrip. Literally just a cantrip though. Alright. They drew a second Monastery Swift Spear, which is fine for me because I have Anger of the Gods, so that will blow them out pretty hard, I think. So yeah, I think we just do that. I can't imagine what else I would want to do more than get rid of all their stuff. I think Picklock Prankster's time has passed. I have the cards in graveyard. Alright, so now I can Treasure Cruise, keep the Pheonix in the bin, and have Lightning Axe up for if they have something next turn. I'm not going to discard this Lightning Axe. I would love to just keep it in hand. Alright, so getting Pheonix back is going to be tricky. We haven't really hit cantrips. And they have a Rest in Peace. Why is their red-white aggro deck playing Rest in Peace? Please explain it to me. Okay, that doesn't really make sense, but it's very good in this situation, I guess. So now we're planning on winning without the graveyard, which is, we're looking for Proph's Eidetic Memory. Did that get milled at any point? No. So we have Proph's Eidetic Memory as an out. We could draw a, what's it called? Floodmaw. We could draw Floodmaw and, like, just temporarily remove this and get my graveyard value for a bit there. But I think the plan is fire up Sokinzan and just attack them for 3 a turn. They are stumbling hard. I have 2 removal spells. We're gonna turn this into a how do they not die game instead of a how do I not die game. So I just want to keep my 2 removal spells and just answer any threats they play. And I guess I'll take a land, which will probably be discarded to Lightning Axe given the opportunity. Alright, they have a Swift Spear, which can't really attack into my Prankster. They're trying anyway. I will absolutely block. So this means a single Prowess trigger doesn't beat Fiery Impulse, and they're going to have to fire something off now. Alright, so currently their Prowess trigger doesn't beat Fiery Impulse. They could have, like, what's it called, the defensive spell thing, but I'm just going to try to force them to use it. Yeah, so that is Hexproof Indestructible until end of turn, which is somewhat expected. I mean, they had to have something in their hand, right? Alright, another Pheonix. That can be hard cast. So yeah, I think we just continue on being the beatdown. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6. So the additional Prankster doesn't make a difference to the clock, but I can hardcast the Lightning Axe later, so I guess this turn I'll play out the additional 1/3, and then next turn I can do the classic full value Lightning Axe to kill the Swift Spear. Right, they're still attacking, which means they must have something. So this is 7 points of damage, so it's not going to kill them in a single turn. This is 5 points, so it'll still kill them in 2 turns. So if I do this, and they do whatever combat trick they have, it'll still be good. Okay. It's a Reckless Rage, which gets rid of my Pheonix, but... Alright, and then a Monstrous Rage as well. Alright, so they definitely got me there. They had 2 combat tricks, and now I have a couple of 1/1s. But I can still full value this Lightning Axe and see if they have another protection spell. And also that will let me cycle a bit. Just looking for any action. Treasure Cruise I don't think is good here. Alright, they have another combat trick to save them. So that's interesting. And an Urabrask's Forge, which will make their clock much better. I don't know. Are we about to get out mid-ranged by the Turbo Aggro deck? I think we are. Alright, so we're taking 4 a turn, and it'll be more from the Forge powering up. Alright, we have a lot of looks at another answer. They only have 2 cards in hand. Surely it's not another protection spell. Alright, that's a Fiery Impulse, which is only 2 damage. And that's an Arclight Pheonix. So now I'm swinging at them for 5. So the fact that this doesn't have Spell Mastery means, because of the Rest in Peace, means I can't kill their Swift Spear. But I can kill a Forge token if that matters. And they are at 2, which means they have to stop the Pheonix and at least one of the spirits. A second Forge doesn't do it, right? That's not enough. 3, 4, 5, 6 points. So you're going to need a +4 here. And I also have the Fiery Impulse. Yep. So I can kill that. And not die. And kill them on the backswing. That was certainly close. I feel like our opponent doesn't, like... This is not how you play a red aggressive deck, right? Like, you do not fill your red aggressive deck up with, like, Rest in Pieces and infinite protection spells and try to grind your opponent out. Like, that is not... I mean, it can work, but it's just too slow. Floodmaw triple Artist's Talent. Alright, I mean, we can keep this and discard Artist's Talents to Artist's Talents. Our opponent is mulliganing into Oblivion. Alright, how many cards did you end up keeping? Zandal Mandal. I think I saw like 3 mulligans there. Did they go to 4? Or they might have gone to 5, but... Alright, yeah, they went to 5. I'm going to lead on an untapped land, have turn 1 Floodmaw in case it happens to matter. So red-white humans? Gideon? Alright, I could bounce that. I don't think I'm going to immediately. I think I'm just going to run out an Artist Talent first. There's a huge amount of value in being able to Floodmaw plus also Selection. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, is annoying. Lightning Axe is pretty much exactly what the doctor ordered, so this is going to be like red-white humans, red-white stacks, probably. Adeline is very annoying because it's scarier than Thalia, which means I have to not kill Thalia. I don't think it matters. Artist Talent or a null. Get rid of both. Alright, Fiery Impulse. We'll get rid of Thalia next turn. And let me Floodmaw the Kythian. Alright. We pass again. See if they play another giant scary threat that I need to Lightning Axe. They do not. I'm going to Fiery Impulse that. Get rid of the last Artist's Talent. So they could give Kythian Indestructible for 3 mana. Alright. They have sacked a land to keep Thalia alive for a turn. That's probably great for me. So obviously the downside is, like, they still have their thing. I'm going to have to use another removal spell on Thalia. But the upside is they are down a land, and I have another removal spell to deal with Thalia. And I'm not going to discard my Floodmaw. I'm just going to use it to tempo the Kythian. And, which I think I will do in end step. Just waste their time next turn as well. Alright, that's another Thalia. Except this one has fun little alternate art. Alright, so I can picklock Prankster, and if this doesn't get me anything great, like a Treasure Cruise, for example. So I could play out the Prankster as a 1-3 blocker, but I can do that at any point, and Treasure Cruise gets a lot harder once the Thalia is out. So I'm going to Treasure Cruise now. And I can still play out a 1-3 blocker, as it turns out. Alright, so they could play a land, fire up the Den. That would be pretty good this turn, but I think they're going to want to play their Thalia. Yes. And a Norin. So, whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may exile it and you can play it. Alright, so I think I need to kill the Norin, of all things, because that just gives them free attacks forever. And I could Treasure Cruise here for 3 mana. It's probably right. None of these are Phoenixes or anything. Just gotta refuel. So this does mean I am tapped out. This has Vigilance, so I'll attack with it. So if I untap, I have Lightning Axe for the Den. And is this 2-1 tribal or something? Like, what is going on here? That's a lot of creatures with 2 power and 1 toughness. And it can become a thing that eventually, for 5 mana, it can become a 3-2 double striker. Okay, well, we're just not going to have that happen. We're going to free the Fae. And cycle through this Spell Pierce, which is bad against their creature deck, into another Spell Pierce, which is also bad against their creature deck. Alright, so I could level this up and, like, counteract the Thalia. So that's cool. And I attack for 1. I still have my good old 1-3 blocker. So that doesn't get protection or anything, so I can always just Lightning Axe that if they go to pump it again. We're going to block the Thalia. They're going to pump the Kellen. Oh! Embercleave. Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think we go through the opt here. It's hard to tell. Alright. So they can play that card this turn, but they've tapped out, so they're not going to. Unfortunately, they have a Planeswalker. Which can't do anything huge this turn, but will be very annoying next turn. Probably, like, game-winningly annoying. I need now a bounce spell would be good. Alright. So they gave that one indestructible. I guess we attack there. And we play a Picklock Prankster. I guess we can consider. I kind of want both of those. I don't need another Consider. I need... Alright, I'm going to hold on to Steam Vents. I'm going to hold on to Steam Vents because I'm going to be discarding it. I don't need the land. I'm going to be discarding it to Fiery Impulse or something. So that's a 4/4 indestructible that doesn't take any damage, which is quite annoying. They still don't have the mana for the Den of the Bugbear. So we're gonna block. They're gonna fire that up, and we will kill it in response. And get through that Steam Vents to another Steam Vents. Alright, so this... a Skrelv... I think we just need to kill the Skrelv. I think we need to kill the Skrelv because it'll give their stuff protection or hexproof or whatever that does. Alright, Picklock Prankster, find me Arclight Pheonix Treasure Cruise. Fantastic. That is literally like the best possible case. And we exile 6 cards and draw 3. And this is our second spell for the turn. And the third Arclight Pheonix has arrived. Into the bin it goes. And our opponent has realized that they are completely toast. So they are humans, probably. They've got Embercleave and Skrelv and Gideon and bringing in Anger the Gods. I think we have a null and to negate just because Embercleave is so scary. And Prismari Command for the same reason. So Spell Pierce got Embercleave that time. I think it's normally bad against them. Like, normally the cost reduction on Embercleave is going to be enough that they can pay. Negate is 2 mana. I guess that's kind of too much. It's hard to leave up 2 mana a lot of the time. Floodmaw is great. It can tempo their Gideon. And I think from here we might go down to Artist Talent and to Sleight of Hand. I'm not entirely sure about that. We might need all 4 Artist Talent, but we also need cantrips a lot. Like, it's really hard to cut cantrips in this deck. Like, you could trim a couple, but it's hard to cut like 4 cantrips or 5 cantrips to bring stuff in. I think that's just almost always wrong. Alright, so our human's opponent is going to be on the play. And we are going to have a Prof start. That's good. This is good because they probably have Rest in Peace, right? Like, I didn't think about that during sideboarding, but it's pretty likely. Alright, so I'm going to lead on Island. And probably consider. And that's a haste. That gets counters if stuff enters when it attacks. Yep, very scary. That's way too slow. We need our interaction now-ish. So, Picklock Prankster can block. 1/3 blocker was good against them last time. I think I'm just going to run out a 1/3 blocker, try to hold some of their stuff back. And then next turn I can Proft Eidetic Memory and start getting like Value Town there. They're just attacking. I think that's just a safe attack for them. Yeah, and like I thought, there's the rest in peace. Alright. So from here, I can... No, I don't want to do that. I want to Proft holding up Lightning Axe, because that's actual interaction. Yep. So now my Picklock Prankster is a 2/4, which means it blocks a lot better, and I have Lightning Axe or Torch the Tower up. This is 2 or more non-land permanents entered under your control. So that isn't going to be happening this turn cycle. And I'm just gonna Torch the Thalia. Easy decision there. And now we cast a Consider to draw a card. And I think we can draw Prismari Command. And probably deal 2, draw a bunch, so we can kill that. Cycle some cards. We don't need second Annul. We don't need second Picklock Prankster, probably. And yeah, so Proft is going to trigger, make our guy even bigger, and we just... Alright. Game 1 was very close. Game 2, we just answered all of their stuff. Well, like, we basically just did Delver things that game, actually. Like... We answered everything they did, we made a big creature, and then we killed them with it. And without like the potential of flipping into a Gideon there, I think I agree that it's very probably the end of the game for them. They're taking like, what, 5, 6 a turn? Proft is a messed up card. Yep. While we are waiting, make sure to follow if you haven't already. It helps me out a lot. And I don't know, it feels kind of weird to say that, but gotta get used to saying it. So there we go. So this is 1 land, 4 cantrips on the draw. I think 1 land, 4 cantrips on the draw is fine. Like, obviously, this goes bad a non-insignificant portion of the time. Like right now, for example. But I have another draw and another cantrip to hit my land. Alright, please give me a land, thank you. We got there. And now I think we pass. We might Fiery Impulse the Blood Tithe Harvester. I think we wait until end step, because I would love to consider and get more looks at a 3rd land. They are just cycling a blood. So they're probably flooding then. A 2nd harvester. It's a lot of harvesting. I'm going to look for a land. Alright, that's a 3rd untapped land. It's pretty great. So now we get Artist's Talent out, and now we can Fiery Impulse one of their harvesters while also cycling. I think land troubles should be over almost certainly. We have the mana to cast a bunch of cantrips. I do need to not die, so I am going to Fiery Impulse them. Just save 3 damage a turn for the rest of the game. And we do Treasure Cruise, which is very exciting. Okay, so they have a Shieldred. I can try to find a Lightning Axe here. And... Alright. That probably wasn't the best thing to do. Alright, so we didn't get a Lightning Axe, we got a Flood Maw. So we can send the Shieldred back. I think I need to take the damage here because I need to, yes, I need to draw land to cast another spell. So now I can Treasure Cruise, get back to Pheonix's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And not the second Pheonix, 7. So this Treasure Cruise completely fills up my tank with gas, hopefully. Alright, and there's even the Lightning Axe to deal with the Shieldred next time. I think I attack with one and leave the others on trade with Blood Tithe Harvester duty. So they're just going to recast the Shieldred. I'm going to Lightning Axe it on my upkeep and not cycle. Oh, they have the Duress. That's awful. So I can try to run the same line back of Picklock Prankster into a solution. Although maybe they won't hit their 5th land drop and it just won't even matter. That would be cool. Nope, they hit their 5th land drop and they're going to play the Shieldred. Alright, we trade there. That trade is good for me. We untap. I don't think I cycle with Artist Talent there. Yeah, we hit the Lightning Axe. We kill the Shieldred. And we discard the Artist Talent to that. We decline. And that's 2 spells. This is the 3rd. I think we need to have the Sleight of Hand. Yes, absolutely throw a Pheonix into the yard while you're at it. Lovely. Alright. And we play a tap land. Go to combat. And now we can swing for 9, and they should be pretty much dead here. Like, they could have a Deadly Cover-Up, which would wreck me. I don't even know if they play that main deck. They're cycling for something. A Fatal Push and a Blade of the Oni. So obviously we do have this Treasure Cruise. So they're not gonna... That Fatal Push was pretty bad on their end. They should have, if at all possible... Well, I'm not sure. I wasn't actually paying attention to if they were... I can't remember how they got Revolt, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. It might be that they didn't have a way of getting Revolt on my turn, and they just had to Fatal Push then, but... Regardless, it's super over. Doesn't really matter. I'm just making random decisions. They are dead. And we attack for 9. And that's another win. Alright, so they are Rakdos. They're Rakdos mid-range. So they're going to have artifacts and enchantments. They're going to have small creatures. We need to bring in the anti-graveyard plan. And then in terms of cuts, it's always hard to cut cards from your deck. I think Picklock Prankster probably. So it's more expensive than the other cantrips. Oh, but it is a Prophet's Eidetic memory thing. I need creatures. So I was going to say this is more expensive than the other cantrips, and it won't work if they have hard graveyard hate. But they almost certainly... They're probably not playing Rest in Peace. They might have Leyline of the Void. But really, like, this being a 1-3 that can get powered up with Prophetic Memory is super valuable. So I'm going to cut 2 Sleight of Hand. Probably Treasure Cruise. I mean, they definitely have some sort of graveyard hate, and I guess Spell Pierce is probably bad against them. I could keep in an extra Treasure Cruise. So they probably have graveyard hate. It's probably going to be hard to get, what's it called, Treasure Cruise to actually go. Like if they have a Leyline or a Hearse. Alright, this is an easy mulligan. This is pretty much banking on Prophetic Memory, which is, I think, a pretty reliable thing to bank on. I guess there's no reason to throw that back instead of the island. Alright, they have the Thoughtseize. I could see them taking any of my cards with this, honestly. In the blind, I would take Profts, but they might say, well, this is his only cantrip, really. And this is the only thing that kills Sheoldred, so yeah. I think either of those takes make sense. So, and obviously they might have another Thoughtseize or Duress. Alright, just a FOMO. That's fine. I'm going to slam Prophetic Memory as soon as possible. Just get this guy into play so that they cannot take it from my hand, and hopefully it'll win me the game a couple turns down the line. So yeah, they can attack me. They don't have Delirium. There's the unlicensed source I was expecting. So, let's see here. I can probably Fiery Impulse the fear of missing out if I do so now. So I cantrip into cantrip. Alright, so this gives me my cost reduction. I actually don't know how this works. If I cast it... No, I think... I'm going to assume they're going to activate the Hearse, and I'll Fiery Impulse in response. That seems a lot safer. Yep. Alright. So my graveyard is going to have problems. But they have lost their first creature. If I can get Crackling Drake down, I would need to draw a red source for that. Another fear of missing out. They do have Delirium now. That's worth concerning myself about. I think I can Treasure Cruise. I think this might be an opportunity to Treasure Cruise, unless they Hearse in response. Oh, I needed to not take a card. Okay, so I need to consider into a land, basically. I need to hit my land drop anyway, so I want to do this. And if I find a land... They're looking at my graveyard. Please don't randomly activate Hearse now. It would make me very sad. I just want a Treasure Cruise. Alright, I need this to be... No. I missed my land drop. And with that, probably... Well, I can probably cast enough spells to Treasure Cruise next turn. So it should be fine. But I do not want to be missing land drops. It's super bad. So now they're going to get to fear of missing out for a couple of hits. They get their Unholy Annex into play. No demon yet, so it's not, the full overpowered mode. Still quite scary. Artist's Talent. I think we opt first. Alright, we did opt into a land, and it's a red land, so Crackling Drake is going to be an option. So, I could Artist's Talent here, but I think I just want to Treasure Cruise and have mana up for, Lightning Axe, Flood Maw, etc. So yeah, I can take that opportunity to draw 3 cards. And actually, jamming the Picklock Prankster out while I've drawn a good number of cards. So now they don't really have... So they're going to have to use a kill spell on that, which is fine. I'm fine with them killing that. They are low on resources. I have successfully Treasure Cruised. I just need them to use all their resources and for me to then not die. So I can bounce the token, getting rid of it. I can Lightning Axe the fear of missing out, getting rid of it. Yeah, so I'm going to 10 here. They could have... I think they could have killed me. I think they could have fired up the hearse and straight up, I would have died. But we're just going to get rid of your demon. And Lightning Axe. Discard and Artist's Talent. Get rid of your fear of missing out. So now you don't have a creature to crew the Unlicensed Hearse with. I'm gonna... Steam Vents tapped, play Artist's Talent, and I think I have to just hope they don't crew the hearse. Just don't have a creature that can crew the hearse. Because they could absolutely, if they have, any creature with any toughness, they could fire up the hearse. Yeah, so that's a creature with toughness, with power and toughness. Please don't notice. Please don't notice. They noticed. Well, yep. This is what happens when their graveyard hate is also their win con. So I can bring in Prismari Command to get rid of an artifact. And Flood Maw is great against their various 6/6 tokens. I think we probably trim Torch and Fiery Impulse. A lot of their stuff that we need to kill is Shieldrids anyway. So we're going to try to win game 3. We're on the play. This is fine. It's not exciting, but it's fine. We can do a bunch of opting, try to work out our game plan. Alright, and Thoughtseize, yep, this is why you don't mulligan against the black-red decks, because you're just going to get turn 1 Thoughtseized. And it's like you've mulliganed to 6 to begin with anyway. Third Path Iconoclast is great. I'm not going to cast it though. I'm just going to play Steam Vents tapped. And I would love to get... Hang on. Alright. So that's the unlicensed Terrorist. I was expecting that. So I would love to get a token off of it immediately, because third path Iconoclasts tend to be lightning rods for removal. So just having an opt available, so I can immediately get at least some value out of it is huge. So they have the unlicensed Terrorist. If I draw a Prismari command, I can answer that. Otherwise, we're going to have to lean on non-graveyard based stuff this game. Please do not have a removal spell for... Alright, they have Thoughtseize. I'm going to opt in response, get a 1/1. A Null has missed its window. The Hearse is already in play. So now we have a choice between two decent cards for them to take. It's probably correct. They're just running out of Blood Tithe Harvester. Alright, if I draw a removal spell, I'm in great shape. Yeah, I think that also means I'm in great shape. Because I can Artist Talent, get a token, Picklock Prankster, get a token, get another thing to get another token. And we pass, obviously. My Iconoclast is super important, and I don't want to just trade it away for a Blood Tithe Harvester. So they're going to have to activate that if they want to trade their Harvester for my Iconoclast. Which I don't know if they'll do. Alright, there's the Unholy Annex. Completely expected. And they are going to activate it. Alright, so we're just going to get another 1/1 on the way out. And just start looking for more value. Graveyard is 5. I think we still take the Treasure Cruise. I think, like, Consider will be good enough. Alright, so they've powered up the Mutavault, so they do have the full juice on Holy Annex, which is certainly not good for me. And it looks like they're going to proactively unlicense Hearse. Alright, so downside, treasure cruising is going to be hard. Upside, if we find a Pheonix, we are in the clear to cast it. And there's a Prismari command to get rid of their Hearse. I don't think I just can discard either of those. Yes, there's the Pheonix. We can't cast 3 spells, though, unfortunately. So, I do have a plan here. And the plan is to devour their soul with this Prismari command. So, I'm going to try to get their Mutavault, because I think they're probably going to power it up. And then I can deal 2... Alright, no. I got. Destroy target artifact. Target player draws 2, then discards. I will draw 2, then discard, and I will destroy your unlicensed Hearse. If they hadn't had a duress there, and they just like recklessly fired at their Mutavault, I could have wastelanded them. Not even wasteland, it would have been a good old-fashioned Stone Rain. Plus destroy their graveyard hate. So now, the huge downside to this line is now they get to take my Pheonix, which means I probably shouldn't have done this. I probably should have just taken the safe line, gotten rid of the Hearse, and had a Pheonix sitting in the yard. Alright, their graveyard hate is off, so I'm going to keep the Treasure Cruise. So either of these cards are potentially quite annoying. They're going to have to take the Treasure Cruise, obviously. But now it's going to be tricky for them to fire at the Mutavault safely if I ever have a red mana open. Alright. That's just a good old-fashioned Pheonix. I guess we cast that and get the clock going. It was probably just better to deny the Mutavault with Fiery Impulse. I'll do that next turn for sure. I could have even played the Picklock Prankster as well. Yeah, that was certainly much better. Is the Proft's Eidetic Memory in here anywhere? No, it is not. So that is still an option. By the way, Third Path Iconoclast, still doing great after all this time. There's a Fable. And a Duress. Alright, so they just have a huge amount of discard spells, which does make sense, I guess. I could be pretty reliant on having spells to cast. Alright. So we are going to have to find a way to race them when they're drawing for a turn, which seems difficult. It seems like we're going to get ground out here. Because they can just keep doing what they've been doing with firing up the Mutavault, and that means they gain 4 life a turn. And I can't, I can hit them for 4 and keep them from gaining life, but I can't actually deal any meaningful damage to them until I can either get rid of the Mutavault or the Unholy NX, or get some crazy Proft's Eidetic Memory combos off. Alright, they have successfully dealt 2 damage to themselves. So that's some upside for holding a land. And that is a demon as well, which is unfortunate. So now it's going to be really difficult to turn off the Unholy Annexes, and I think we've lost this. 3rd Unholy Annex means we've certainly lost this. They draw 3 cards a turn, drain me for 6. Alright. Well, we're going to go down fighting. That's 1 spell. This is spell number 2. And we can discard another Pheonix. Alright, so we might be able to do this. We might be able to Flood Maw the Blade, Fiery Impulse the Mutavault, and deny them their Unholy Annexes. It's going to be tough, though. That is Menace. Yikes. Right, we will see what they do. It is Sheoldred, which has the same effect. It's going to gain them a bunch of life. Yep, so they can fire up the Mutavault. I can deal 2 damage to it. And I cannot draw because of Sheoldred. That is Menace, so it's a free attack. I'm pretty sure I lose here no matter what. If I Flood Maw this Sheoldred, I die. Alright, no, they even have that, so I am just dead on board. Yep, that was very much expected. We almost had them for a bit there, but not quite. I'm going to run it back. Alright, we have found an opponent. And let's see. This hand is fine. It's got Artist Talent. It's got Picklock Prankster. Now, pretty much any hand with Artist Talent and a cantrip is going to be a keep. Alright. They have Thoughtseize. And they are going to take the best card in my hand, of course. So now they know I have Spell Pierce. They don't know I have Fiery Impulse. They have a Duress, which I guess I'll Spell Pierce, because Spell Pierce is probably the worst card in my hand. Alright. Let me play out another Spire Bluff Canal. So they have nothing. They've missed a land drop. And I've got a Treasure Cruise into my hand. That's pretty good for me. I guess, so this turn I'll play out the Picklock Prankster. I don't want to be overpaying for my Treasure Cruises ever. Yeah, so they can put that in the graveyard to make my Treasure Cruise cheaper later. And also burn through a Fatal Push to the extent that that matters. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is in. And I am going to disintegrate their Shaman. So now I can safely Treasure Cruise, get rid of my entire graveyard, and draw 3 cards. And boy, I would love if I had any creature, but I'm just going to run out the props. So if I had a creature, then this would be great. I don't, so it's just kind of okay. I think we shock this in, because I don't know if I want to Spell Pierce, or Fiery Impulse, or Floodmaw, which requires 2 colors. And my life total isn't really under pressure. They've just discarded 2 playable cards? Alright, they have Thoughtseize. I could Spell Pierce to tap them out and waste their turn. But really, like they can take any of these cards and I don't really care. Probably the best take is Fiery Impulse. No, they disagree. They just want to take my Spell Pierce. Alright, yeah, they can do that. That's fine. So my plan is going to be just pressure them. I would love if I had a way of drawing cards so that this Pheonix can be more threatening off of the props. For now, I'm just going to hold up Fiery Impulse so they can't get the better version, and it's going to accelerate their clock a lot. Fear of missing out is fine, I don't care about that. We are very much racing them at the moment and being assisted by their own Unholy Annex. Yeah, so they just have to take 2. I think I kill the Reflection here. So the fear of missing out is scary. The Reflection making a bunch of guys is also very scary. So with Artist Talent, I could go crazy here. Alright, go for the throat on my Pheonix. I don't care about that, I'm just going to get it back. So, let's count, shall we? This is spell number 1. And beautiful. This is spell number 2. Keep the Flood Mob, because it's guaranteed spell number 3. Do we take Fiery Impulse? No, I think... Alright. Second Pheonix is the best possible draw. They are dead now. So put the Pheonix in the bin. Or, I guess not dead because of the way the triggers are stacked. I'm going to stack them this way just to see if it matters at all. It doesn't, but... Yeah, they go to 1. They have nothing. So, they are on Unlicensed Terse. Their deck uses Unlicensed Terse's Graveyard Hate, so I'm going to bring in my Prismari command proactively. I still don't want to have to play in against Graveyard Hate. And, I mean, they do play a lot of small-ish creatures, so Anger is probably good. Spell Pierce, we saw it there, not impressing anyone. And from there, Flood Maw is good against their demon tokens. Annul is good against a fair portion of their deck, I think. Picklock Prankster is critical with the guy, the Prophecytic Memory, just as 4 creatures that I can put it on. Artist Talent is kind of dubious against Shieldred, and Treasure Cruise is hard to do against their Graveyard Hate. And then 2 Sleight of Hands, just as random cantrips. We don't need quite as many. So you can normally... I think you can normally afford to cut a couple of cantrips in the post-board game because you just have more like cards that are actually good in themselves. But you can't cut too many because you need a critical mass of cantrips. I'm often cutting like 2 or 3. So this hand is very well set up to fight against their hate and to a lesser extent their own stuff. So we're going to keep it. It's obviously not so good at doing anything on its own, but we have Picklock Prankster to draw into that. Do we annul this? So if we annul this, then they can get... No, I think we let this go. It can be like a take 2 damage from the Prismari command type of deal. We paused for a long time there, so they know we have some sort of interaction. We're just going to take 3. I would love for them to run out the Unlicensed Terse here, and I can Prismari command completely annihilate them. I could annul this, but I can also Lightning Axe it, so I'm not going to. I really want to save Annul for the Unlicensed Terse. And here we Picklock Prankster to try to find something. We find a Treasure Cruise, which is pretty good. Play out a 3rd land and pass. So I would love for them to run out Unlicensed Terse. Alright, they didn't proactively run out Unlicensed Terse. I think I need to Lightning Axe the fear of missing out just to save my life total. I can't be taking 5 just for no reason. Blade of the Oni is going to get picked up by a Prismari command at some point. It's not really a concern. Yeah, so Blood Tithe Harvester. I'll Prismari command Artifact to damage, and that will be great. Or I could Anger. I could Anger here and have the Prismari command for later. That seems better. Alright, goodbye opponent's board. We are only 1 card in graveyard away from Treasure Cruise. Unholy NX, I'm very, very happy to annul that. especially with the Mutavault out. That is just like one of the best cards in their deck, probably. They're even firing up the Mutavault and attacking. That seems aggressive. I don't know if I would have done that. Is any of this stuff valuable? No. Free to Treasure Cruise. 5, 6, 7. Alright. Those are a lot of good hits. They're maybe not the best hits possible, but they're good. I would have loved a 5th land. Double Arclight Pheonix in hand is fine, though. So yeah, they can run out their Fable. I do have answers for every part of that. Fear of missing out. Again, I can answer that pretty easily. I think we are at the part where, like, they are very much running out of gas. That was one spell this turn. I was considering Prismari Command, put both Pheonixes in the bin, but sadly that wouldn't trigger them because I just don't have the mana. I mean, it might if I had like top decked Cantrip, obviously. It's always a possibility, but alright, they're running out the Blade of the Oni. So I could Prismari Command 2 damage to that, and then I draw 2, discard 2. I think that's probably good when I have 2 Pheonixes in the bin and they don't have any graveyard in sight. Another Arclight Pheonix. Alright. So good news, bad news. I have 2 Pheonixes in the bin. I don't know how on earth I'm going to get them out of the bin. This is how. Cantrip 1. Cantrip 2. Please find Cantrip 3. That's not Cantrip 3. Alright. This is crazy, but I can... The additional Pheonix makes this worth it, I think. I can Lightning Axe my own Prankster as the 3rd spell. I don't know if I should have kept that additional Lightning Axe or not, but I'm getting 3 Pheonixes back. And my opponent has a single card in hand, and not much else going on. I think we can just bully them out of this game with 9 points of damage a turn. If they want to use their last card to deal with one of my Pheonixes, that's fine. Obviously there are draws that get them out of this, like Deadly Cover-Up if it's in their deck. I don't know if it is, but it might be, and that would be very bad for me. But that card is always very bad for me, so we can't really play around it. Opponent is thinking. Alright, that is one rope down. Are they salt roping? Is that what's going on here? Probably. I mean, I normally want to like say, oh, it's probably connection issues or they had to step away. It's mighty suspicious that this happens immediately after I have an incredibly good turn. Like, that's very suspicious. So they're probably salt roping. But not much you can do about it. Alright. They did let us go to combat and go for the throat one of my Pheonixes. That's fine. I'll only deal 6 this turn, but they spent 1 real card for like a temporary card. Alright, they can cycle their blood. They're still absolutely like, the game isn't over. They can hit me for 2 here. 4 next turn. That Treasure Cruise might be the end for them. It's going to be very difficult once I'm full on gas. Like, a big portion of the reason they were potentially still in this is because I was low on resources. Now I can Treasure Cruise. I'm going to keep the Sleight of Hand just in case. Oh, there's the 4th Pheonix. They're going to 1. They're going to literal 1. They're taking 12 here. I would love a shock so I can stop the Mutavault. And there's a shock. So now, let's see here. I guess Picklock Prankster would be better. Pretty sure I cast 3 spells this turn. Yeah, I think it was like Treasure Cruise considered Sleight of Hand or something. So yeah, they're going to 1. I have a shock to kill either the Mutavault or the Reflection if they try to go crazy. So now their Unholy Axe doesn't work. Yep, they've said good game. They didn't draw anything. That was indeed a good game. Alright, cool. We have ranked up. We are now Silver 1. Huzzah! Constructed rating. To the extent that it matters, we're slightly less bad. Alright. While I'm queuing, if you're enjoying the content, be sure to follow. It helps me out a lot. I play Magic every other weekday. I alternate between Magic and Satisfactory. So if either of those are interesting to you, or if both of those are interesting to you, then make sure to follow. And yeah, as far as schedule goes, I start at 2 and then I go to at least 5. Sometimes longer if I'm feeling it. So yeah, that's that. Right, we're just waiting on an opponent. The good old Explorer best of 3 queue. It's not the quickest queue in the world, but you get there. Alright, easy mulligan. Easy mulligan. We have an O-lander. Not much to think about here. This looks like 4 lands, 3 spells, but Treasure Cruise is never going to do anything for ages. Arclight Pheonix you do not want to be casting. Spell Pierce could be completely blank depending on the matchup. This is much better. So we can get rid of Spell Pierce. I think we get rid of Arclight Pheonix. It's awkward because now it's on the bottom of our library and we'll never see it again, but alright, I think we lead on a tap land. Just to get that out of the way. Deep Cavern Bat. If I had led on an untapped land, I could have Fiery Impulsed the Bat in response and then been fine. Instead, we're doing this. Artist Talent is a good draw, though. It's really one of the things I want to be seeing. It's been a while since I saw a Deep Cavern Bat. So they're going to be what? Black-white. Just generic black-white. Or like black-white humans with Deep Cavern Bats because it's a good card, or what? Alright, we do need to hit our land. So I'm going to Sleight of Hand here. Treasure Cruise is going to be online pretty soon. Stormcarved Coast is untapped. So now I can Fiery Impulse the Bat and get my other Fiery Impulse back, but I can't do anything with the other Fiery Impulse yet. We need to get rid of the Adeline. Make a sorcerer roll. +1/+1 when it attacks Scry. Okay. That's not very scary. They didn't pay. Makes sense. Alright. Well, I am going to kill the bat. Throw back one treasure cruise to turn the other one on. I'm unfortunately at 12 and dropping fast. Regal Bunnicorn. That's terrifying. So what I need to kill the spellbook vendor, I need a lava axe pretty much to get rid of the Adeline, so we can cruise for hopefully the solution to all of our problems. Please give me a lava axe. Do I discard the Prophet's Eidetic Memory? I think so. I think this is going to be a... This is going to be a game where, like, either they're going to go wide around me, or I'm going to stop them completely. Yes, Lightning Axe. That's great. Get out of here, Adeline. Get out of here, Tapland. Get out of here, Shockland. Alright, I think we may have done it. We have used all of our cards, but we've reduced them to 2/1/1s. So we both of us need to get something going. I think I might have like better top decks in Treasure Cruise, for example. And I also have certainly much more selection. Sokanzan is not what I'm looking for. Steam Vents isn't either, but I'll play it anyway. Level up the artist talent in case that it could be helpful in the future. Alright, Anointed Peacekeeper. I don't even know what they would name here. Like, Treasure Cruise is the most impactful card, but making it cost 2 more is kind of mid. Like, and I've also used one and discarded one. Arclight Pheonix does nothing. I'm never going to be casting. Okay, I might cast it if I top deck it, right? But that's not the plan. I'm going to leave the island in hand because I think this is enough lands, and I need to be able to discard it to artist talent triggers. Unfortunately, my opponent does have... Alright, well, I guess we're paying 6 mana for our Arclight Pheonix, and obviously not attacking since that would kill us, but I think we are dead anyway. Yeah, and that... We're dead, so we managed to bring it to a almost stable, but they were able to finish us off. So we need... what's it? The sweeper. I put it in my deck, right? It's in here. Anger the Gods is super important against their go wide token strategy. Brazen Borrower could be good for tempo and for dealing with... They probably have Rest in Peace. They are almost all creatures. Spell Pierce is probably bad. Annul is probably bad. I don't see any enchantments in here. I need 6 more cuts. Floodmaw could be good for tempo or fighting against hate pieces. All of the removal is necessary. I think I do my normal post-sideboard thing of... Artist Talent is probably good, because they're not going to be a Shieldred deck, probably. But Treasure Cruise is just going to be hard to cast if they have their stuff. What's it called? If they have Graveyard Hate, it's going to be hard to get a Treasure Cruise through, so I can cut 2 of those. I don't want to go down 4 Sleight of Hands, do I? No, I think I go down 2 Picklock Pranksters first and keep in more 1-mana cantrips. Sideboarding is difficult. It's like 80% of the skill with this deck, and I'm still not entirely sure how to go about it best. I need to read some guides or something. Yeah, we're waiting for opponent to sideboard. They're obviously up a game, so it's going to be a bit tough for me, but I think we can win 2 games against this deck. Seems, at least game 1, it felt very winnable. Alright. This hand is fine. We have Iconoclast and Consider. It's not great, mind, like, I do want to have the interaction against the Adelenes and the Bunnycorns, and we draw it. Alright, that works. Alright, so now the question is, I still think my policy is never run out an Iconoclast on 2. Always keep it until 3 so you can get at least something. There's a Thalia. I think I immediately Lightning Axe that. I think that just has to go instantaneously. And I'll get rid of Sokenzan because this is going to be an untapped land. Alright, so now my Go Wide token strategy is online. Anointed Peacekeeper. So I think I just have to consider in response. Grabs Profts. They're probably going to name Profts, but 4 mana Profts Eidetic Memory is still very good. And they've named Treasure Cruise instead. I am delighted by that. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to kill it, right? I think the plan is bargain a Torch the Tower, sacking one of the 1/1s off of Iconoclast. Just make another one to instantly replace it. And I don't need a second Treasure Cruise. The one I have is already going to be difficult enough to trigger. Put the counters on the 1/1 just to spread things out because they're going to want to kill the Iconoclast anyway. Yeah, so now we're the token Go Wide beatdown deck. How does it feel, opponent? Yep, they're looking at a whole bunch of stuff. It'd be nice if they just played an Adeline and I can Lightning Axe it and continue jamming in for, what, 5 next turn it'll be? They're thinking. Anointed Peacekeeper. So they can name Lightning Axe. I might still cast a Lightning Axe for 3 mana. What is taking them so long with this Peacekeeper on the stack? Alright, I guess that was just a visual bug. Alright, fair enough. So the options are 3 mana Lightning Axe. Definitely get in for 5. Is this my favorite game? Yeah, I would say probably so. So the options are 3 mana Lightning Axe. Definitely get in for 5, but it's super inefficient. Or I could Picklock Prankster, try to find a burn spell. Yes, so this is much better. It worked. The Peacekeeper is gone. Going crazy. Is it hard to play? I don't know. That's sort of a difficult question to answer. It's like, in certain ways very, in other ways it's very easy. Like, it's one of those easy to learn, hard to master type of things where I'm going to be constantly making mistakes, but I'm not going to be like breaking the game rules, sort of. So I think we've won here. I think their go wide token deck is just not going to be able to deal with this. Yeah, Deep Cavern Bat is not nearly enough here. I can just Brazen Borrower that for lethal. So they're looking at stuff. I think they're probably coming to the conclusion that it's hopeless, if I had to guess. Alright, Prismari Command even. That's just so much cleaner. 2 damage to you. I will draw 2, discard 2. And sure, let's discard those 2. Yep, and they concede. Streaming daily. Yep, every weekday from 2 to 5 or longer if I'm feeling like it. So where are you from? Sorry, I'm not gonna... I don't feel like talking too much about myself on stream. Alright, we are waiting for our opponent to sideboard. Yeah, so my favorite games are between this and Satisfactory. I'm not entirely sure which one I like more at the moment, so I'm just alternating between them and having a lot of fun with both. Alright, so this is fine. It has Anger of the Gods. It has Artist Talent. We are low on cantrips, so that's the concern here. They have Skrelv. Why haven't I set up any customized panels? I don't know. Please don't like try to sell me stuff in my chat. It's kind of annoying. I'll set up customized panels when I get to it, and yeah. Alright, so opponent has Deep Cavern Bat taking my Lightning Axe. That's expected. I guess it's a little surprising they didn't take the Anger. I mean, I'm going to do the only thing I can do, which is run out Artist Talent. And, alright, so if I draw an Anger of the God, if I draw land, then we're good. Otherwise, we're in a bit of trouble here. Alright, Fiery Impulse is fine. It's not great, but I can kill the Skrelv and get an Artist Talent trigger. So yeah, they can do that. That's fine. I don't care. Just looking for a land. Alright, so now I can Lightning Axe the Spellbook Vendor or the Adeline. I I'm very happy to lightning axe that instead. Yeah, you can attack me for 1 or 2. That's fine. I'll take this damage, lightning axe the Adeline. Put the other Pheonix in the bin. Yeah. And we've got to draw a land at some point. Like, come on, this is getting crazy. I'm going to run out the Profts. Put the Brazen Borrower away. There we go. There's the 3rd land. I have 2 red sources already. I have 2 blue sources already. This lets me hold up Fiery Impulse, which seems better. I don't know. Alright, so they're going to try to shelter that by ghosts that. I'm just going to kill it in response. Alright, so they are doing the whole sorceress roll thing. That's fine. Just need, like, any creature. Probably wins me the game with the Profts. And I have a lot of time to find it. If I don't draw a creature, I can anger. I have 8 cards in the graveyard. Can you type your Discord name? Sorry. I don't know. Don't take this the wrong way, but, like people come into my chat a lot asking this sort of stuff, and I don't fully understand, but I think it's some sort of scam, so just please don't ask for that. Alright. We've gotten rid of their board. We just need... We've gotten rid of their board. We have Treasure Cruise available at some point. That's Ordain. That's fine. I can just kill that. So I guess we're going... Spell 1 is Lightning Axe. Discard... Probably discard 2nd Lightning Axe. Just have the land available. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. Draw 3 cards. And I'm pretty sure at some point in here I had Pheonixes in the bin. If I didn't, now I definitely do. In you go. Grab my other Iconoclast. And yes, that's 3 Pheonixes in play. Game is super over. Alright, so I'm just going to draw a bunch of cards. Yeah. Understandable. Very reasonable concession there. Alright, that's another win for me. And random ICRs continue to be useless. And keep playing. Alright, so this hand has a single red mana, no real cantrips. Alright, this hand is also kind of sketchy, but it does at least have an island consider. And if I get a 2nd land and it's a red source, I Artist's Talent, and most of my problems are solved. So we're gonna try this. Hive of the Eye Tyrant, game 1. That's rude. So they're doing Novice Inspector things. So So I need to hit a land drop. I've bricked, which means I'm going to die here. I have basically nothing. I don't even have Fire Impulse up. I don't have another cantrip. So this is where we get into trouble. So they can attack me for 1. Second main phase. I will Spell Pierce anything. Literally any legal target, I will Spell Pierce. It's not a legal target. That's not a legal target either, so they... Yeah, they're doing just like Rotten Mouth Viper. Each opponent loses 4 life for each blight counter unless they sack a non-land. Alright, well, I'll discard one of my many artist talents. That's fine. Alright, there's that. So I can at least kill the Spiteful Hexmage. And now we... Basically, we need a bounce spell to just send this guy back. So yeah, obviously this is very bad. We're almost certainly going to lose this game, but we still have outs. We still have the possibility. I think we free the Fae, and if this doesn't... Yeah, okay. That's just going to hit more cantrips. Alright, so they are Rottenmouth Viper. So yeah, their goal is to just have a lot of non-land permanents to sacrifice, and then get that guy in. So Brazen Bar is going to be good to bounce their guy. Anger the Gods could sweep them a fair amount. Crackling Drake can challenge it in combat. Annul is out. Spell Pierce is out. They look like all creatures, pretty much. I mean, I should be able to win this just by, like, having not playing a janky brew. Should be enough to get me to win. So I'm just going to cut 2 Sleight of Hands to make up the last couple slots. We'll see if they have Graveyard Hate. They might not. If they do, it'll be pretty bad for me, but... Alright, this is another low land hand. This has double Flood Maw, which should just tempo them forever. And I think I throw back... It's either one of the Flood Maws or the... I think I throw back the Consider and just say, like, my hand as it is good. Alright, I'm going to have Flood Maw available on 1. I'm going to jam Artist Talent on 2. So yeah, they've played that. It's basically 1 mana 1/1 on 1. Alright. Picklock Prankster is great. It's exactly the sort of card I need to see. Yeah, okay. Rest in Peace is expected. Frost Eidetic Memory is my answer to Rest in Peace. And with Rest in Peace, I'm going to get rid of Treasure Cruise since that's not happening. Alright. So now we have Flood Maw up. We could flood Mother Rest in Peace at any point if we think we can go for a Pheonix. Other than that, we're going to be flood mawing the Rottenmouth Vipers and pretty much the Rottenmouth Vipers, I think. Another Spiteful Hex Mage. So that's going to put the counter on the... You can't put... I feel like that could put the counter on that one, but they probably just want the... They probably just want the permanents to sack with their Viper. Yep. They can attack me for 1. Don't really care. I'm going to play a 1-3 Vigilance and Sleight of Hand, discarding some other Treasure Cruise to draw an additional card this turn. And I'll take the Fiery Impulse. And I guess I will kill one of their Hex Mages. So that will even slow them down in terms of like getting to their Viper. And more importantly, I just want to be drawing cards to trigger the Prophetic Memory so that I can have a 3/5. Alright. Unfortunately, they have Fatal Push. So they got the upper hand in that one, but still, though, like, they are grinding through their cards. Alright, well, I'm going to level up Artist Talent and pass the turn. We're just sitting here with nothing really to do. They're not really doing anything either. They have Castle Ardenvale. Yeah, there's the Viper. So I could lose 4 life or get rid of a Treasure Cruise that I can never cast. I'll get rid of a Treasure Cruise that I can never cast. And so next turn I can level up Artist's Talent and just kill the Viper with Lightning Axe, which seems better. Yeah, so this will deal the Lightning Axe damage plus 2 instead. Discarding the Flood Maw because the Picklock Prankster is a 1/3. And I need my 1/3s. Alright, so that's a Viper dealt with. Now they do unfortunately have a 3/2. So Rest in Peace means that these are just 1/3 blockers, because Mill 4 won't... Actually, will Mill 4 work? Let me do a science experiment real quick. I fully expect this to fail, but it works. Alright, that's huge. That's huge. Now I have the Torch the Tower. So yeah, Mill 4, it says, from among the milled cards, it doesn't say that they have to be in the graveyard. So now we know that that's how that works. Picklock Prankster is quite a bit better. So they can attack with their 3/2. I'm just going to kill it. And what is this? It's a 6/6 that makes them sacrifice stuff, or else it is tapped at the beginning of their upkeep. Alright. Well, we are going to play out another 1/3. And we are somewhat low on gas. We can hit them for 1 for free, but yeah, they're never going to run out of stuff because they can always castle Ardenvale. I assume they'll just get rid of a food or something and attack with their 6/6 Menace Trampler. So I could double block, take nothing, and then certainly die next turn anyway. Like, I need to just draw... I just need to draw an out. Alright, that's sort of like an out if you squint. So I can attack you for 2. And you're going to make a 1/1. And you're going to presumably sack the Cursed Roll. Play a Novice Inspector. Yep, my opponent sure is grinding like crazy. They can even draw a card off of it. So I can bounce their Sugar Maw. Double block the Hex Mage, maybe. Alright, so you can go away. So I double block the Hex Mage. I guess I could play this out, but it can only block creatures with flying. So this loses me a Prankster and puts me to 1. This doesn't lose me a Prankster. No, this doesn't lose me a Prankster, puts me to 1. This loses me a Prankster, puts me to 2. I don't think there is a meaningful difference. I'm just going to get rid of the card that is a hate piece against me. I don't think it matters that I'm at 1. I think either I'm going to be attacked for a bunch and die, or I'm going to not be attacked for a bunch and live. Like... yeah, they're just going to run that out again, and I drew another land. Which, unfortunately, is not enough. Alright, that's frustrating. I feel like we are heavily favored in that matchup, but they had the turn 2 Rest in Peace. We had lost game 1 somehow. We'd stumbled over ourselves. Yeah, it's rough. Alright, so this hand is fine. It's got a cantrip. It's got tons of interaction. It's got a treasure cruise to refill once it's all done. Alright. I think we just cantrip on 1. We'll take the Pheonix. And we'll have to get that in the bin somehow. Opponent is playing some sort of Simic deck. Not often you see Breeding Pool. Alright. Breeding Pool Forest. Satyr Wayfinder. Alright. They're playing a 60 card deck. Alright, it's going to be this Archaeologist. Augur of Bolas. Okay, they've got Augur of Bolas. I don't think I need Lightning Axes. So far, everything they've shown me is small. I think we just run out the Prankster. Then we can pass the turn with our interaction all up. See what happens. Satyr Wayfinder is a weird one. Neoform, that makes sense. Unfortunately for them, we have a Spell Pierce. So they're some sort of horrific combo deck. Right, they even have backup for it. So, alright, and they get Oculus. Yep, everything about this situation makes sense. You can go back to hand. I guess there was no real reason to do that with that timing. So I can kill their face down card, which was an Augur of Bolas for some reason. And Treasure Cruise. Getting rid of all this junk to draw 3 cards. Yep. And leave up interaction and cantrips. And we swing for 1. So they did the Oculus thing once. They can do it now manually because they have 8 cards in graveyard. Yep, so that's a 5/5. Looking for a Lightning Axe. Artist Talent is unfortunately too slow here. We drew it anyway, because of course we did. So we're going to be Manifesting Dread. There's the Lightning Axe. Beautiful. Alright. So, in order to get 3 spells, I could go Lightning Axe, Torch, Opt, and that works. And that takes 3 mana. So playing the Artist Talent introduces the risk that I don't get an untapped land to get my Pheonix back. But I think it's still, like, I still need to get going. I can't just sit here answering their stuff forever and never doing my own thing. Get rid of the Oculus, discarding the Pheonix. So this is spell number 1 for the turn. Discard the tap land. Second Pheonix is big payoff if I can find an untapped land. Essence Flux. Alright, you got me. We opt as spell number 2, put another Pheonix away. Alright, we have an untapped land. We can play the untapped land. And... oh, Torch the Tower was supposed to be our 3rd spell. So I was thinking we were going to get the Phoenixes back and then juke them in combat with Torch the Tower, like they were going to block. And then I was going to deal another 2 and the Oculus would die. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. And they're getting Essence Flux back. So yeah, this is their plan. They're just going to very annoyingly protect this Oculus for the rest of the game. We passed blockers. We blocked the face down guy. Take 5, because of course they have a 3-mana 5/5 with upside. And they have a second Oculus. That's horrible for me. So they have 2 Oculi. And I can't kill either of them this turn, probably. Although they are tapped out, so it's theoretically possible. So this is spell 1. Get rid of a tap land. If anything were to do it, Treasure Cruise would. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is spell 2. I think we need Torch the Tower and Opt. Alright, so Sleight of Hand to spell 3, looking for an untapped land. And we throw back the Consider. It's not an untapped land, but it is a land. So now we get our Phoenixes back. So we could attack for 7, but that's not going to work out, I think. I think we have to stay on blockers and try to trade off a Phoenix plus a Torch for 1 Oculus. Alright, they have another Archaeologist. So the graveyard is full forever. They even have a slip out the back. Because of course... Yeah, I mean this... They just have a bunch of 2-mana guys. And that they can near form into Oculus. Alright, so the question is, I'm already thinking about sideboarding. Do I try to bring in, like, Spell Pierces and Mystic Disputes and whatnot? Do I try to bring in stuff to interact with the Near form? Or do I just say, look at all this stuff they've got going. I just need to fight the Oculi themselves. Yeah, I think that means I'm literally dead. So let's see. We bring in Mystic Dispute. We bring in Negate. None of this stuff is enchantments, so a null comes out. Anger of the Gods could kill their thing. Fiery Impulse and Torch the Tower are bad. They don't kill the Oculus. Brazen Borrower can tempo the Oculus and then block it. Not great, but they can block it. Crackling Drake can trade with an Oculus once. And as far as more cuts... what sort of graveyard hate? They are not... They're in blue-green. So they're not really graveyard hate colors, so I don't think that's actually a concern. So I think we probably just cut for Sleight of Hand? I don't know about this one. Like, their deck seems... You know, their deck seems like our deck, except they get 5/5s instead of 3/2s. And 5/5s that specifically come with more bodies on the side. So I don't know if this... Alright, so we have 2 Spell Pierces and a Negate props. This is fine. It's probably more interactive than I would have liked. I think I throw back a Negate. So their Near form costs 2 mana, but they need a 2-drop to get the Oculus, so I should be safe on their turn 2. They're just going to play a 2-drop creature. On their turn 1, they probably don't do anything interesting. So I'm going to play a tap land. And they're going to play a 1-drop. Traverse the Ulvenwald. Yeah, that's just a tutor. Makes sense. So, they're just going to play a 2-mana creature to Neoform into their guy. So I'm almost certain I'm safe to get procs down. And by the same logic, I should be fine to play Artist's Talent, although they might have... Yeah, okay, so they definitely have the Neoform. So the question is, do I play Artist's Talent, or do I hold up Double Pierce? Last time they had a Stubborn Denial to beat out my Spell Pierce. I'm going to play around them having that again. And just try to fight over this Neoform. Alright, and they just played out an Augur of Bolas instead. Probably sensing that I'm holding up interaction. Alright, well I'm going to consider my end step. Get rid of additional land, don't need it. I'm going to consider it again. Get rid of a tap land, don't need it. Alright, so now I can definitely jam Artist's Talent and still have double Spell Pierce up. Bushwhacking for land. It's fine by me. Gotta put 4 cards in graveyard. See, it's just so easy, like, to get enough cards in graveyard to bring back to cast the Oculus. Are they gonna Neoform? Yes, they are. I'm going to throw the other Artist Talent away, and Crackling Drake is good. Alright. I'm going to play another Blue Source. Run out my Crackling Drake. Draw a card. And now I have a 4/5. So this will hopefully outscale their Oculi. Assuming I can draw cards at a reasonable rate, that is. I would love to draw... Alright, so they have the Neoform, and this time they have 2 mana up, so my Spell Pierce is no good. I think we have to leave it. They're going to get their Oculi. It's going to be a 6/6. I would love just, like, a Treasure Cruise here. Alright, Picklock Prankster is fine by me. He's going to cantrip. Draw a card off of props. Brazen Borrower is great. So is Treasure Cruise. Alright, so this is spell 1. I have a Pheonix in the bin, so I need to count now. And Treasure Cruise for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Spell number 2. Go back to the island. Anger the Gods is whatever. And I think we run out Sokenzan. And Brazen Borrower, bounce your Oculus is spell 3. I think we get rid of the Spell Pierce, because they're probably not going to play into it at any point. Although, probably right now they might have. They do run a lot of defensive stuff, so I should have kept the Spell Pierce. That was sloppy. I'm mostly just thinking, though, that like this Crackling Drake is going to overwhelm them. Alright, so yeah, they do have Essence Flux, but that does downgrade it to a 5/5, which is notable. And 7 cards in graveyard, can't safely cruise, so I'm going to consider instead. And now the question is, can you beat a gigantic Crackling Drake with a Flood Maw as backup? So Crackling Drake is going to be enormous, literally 15 power, and I'm going to assume they're going to have to chump the Crackling Drake and get in with the Pheonix as well. If they don't chump the Crackling Drake, then they go to 5. Yeah, I think this is fine. I think putting them to 5 is probably better than, yeah. Because otherwise they could have chumped. I'm not sure if that would have been good for them or not, but they didn't. So now they are dead to 2 Phoenixes. And they're blue-green. They might not have good removal for the Drake. They're auguring to see if they can find any. Yes, the classic augur. Look at the bottom 3 cards of your library. And they are attacking, which puts me to 10. So I assume they're going to flicker. They could flicker the Oculus, or they do have a removal spell. Yeah, they have Fading Hope, which is fine. Like, it's good, but it's not very good. So now we just need to cantrip into another Pheonix. Throw back Steam Vents. Yes, there's another Pheonix. I guess Second Anger of the Gods is fine. Alright, so that was one spell. This is spell 2. Get rid of all the random dorks. And put the Pheonix in the bin. And they concede. Alright, we got there. Plan is to run it back. And just do the same thing, but again. So this time we're going to be on the draw, so it's going to be a lot harder. Like, we're not going to have safe windows to just jam profs on 2, for example. Okay, opponent is going first, of course. We have Mystic Dispute to fight their Neoforms, which will buy us some time, but we're going to have to opt into it. We're going to have to opt into stuff to do. Phoenix off the top is pretty good. Brazen Borrower can also slow them down once they get one in play. We're going to just opt immediately. Don't think we need another land. Get one anyway. Alright, so opponent is probably going to play a 2-drop. Or not. So they don't have the turbo start this time of 2-drop into Neoform. Indeed, they have done nothing for the first 2 turns of the game. And they might Stubborn Denial this? Yep. That's fine, honestly. They can use their counter spells on cantrips. Just leaves me better place to fight over stuff that matters. Yeah, Paw Patch formation, 2 mana, draw a card, make a food. I do not care. So they could try to go for the whole thing in one turn now if they wanted to. Probably not a good idea. I'm just going to opt at their end step. Alright. So we have the Treasure Cruise now. So now we are looking to consider, then Treasure Cruise on our next turn. They're just gaining 3 life. That's kind of wild, to be honest. Okay, Augur of Bolas. So I assume they have the Neoform, but we're missing a 2 mana value creature. It's the only thing that makes sense to me, and they're still not going for it because they're scared, I guess. Alright. Threw away a tap land, we got a tap land anyway. Such is life. I think I can Treasure Cruise here. 5. Pay some actual mana for it, but still draw 3 cards. I will Mystical Dispute or Spell Pierce to protect this. Yep. And if they have another counterspell, they have another counterspell. They could have a Stubborn Denial, for example. Alright. We got it through. We are tapped out now. We have Brazen Borrower to tempo their Oculus. But they are attacking for 1, going to second main phase, and Neoform. Yep, that's to be expected. Alright, so the best possible draw would be a 3 damage burn spell. Alright. Instead of that, you do get an Artist's Talent. And do we try to go on our turn to get Pheonix going, maybe? Let's see. We'll consider. This is our first spell for the turn. Put Pheonix in the bin. Second Pheonix. I can't remember if I've played a land this turn. No, I think we could Brazen Borrower now and Mystical Dispute something, and then if they fight over it, we get our Pheonix back. I think that's worth a try. Back to hand, nerd. And discard the Pheonix. Draw another Pheonix. And Mystical Dispute the Ether Flux. Put another Pheonix in the yard, and now they're coming back. And the tempo is successful. We even have a Flood Maw for next turn. Alright. We are doing our thing. We have slowed down their thing a bit. They can obviously just re-hard cast it, and we can Flood Maw bounce it, and see if they have another defensive mechanism. So if they don't have another way of defending this, it's going to be it's going to be relatively hard for them to get. I could hardcast that. No, I'm going to target that, pay 1, discard Anger, Because I don't want to anger with my Phoenixes in play. So I think we're just going to have to race them there. And if they fight over this, they can give it hexproof and indestructible. I'm going to just see if I happen to hit a negate, for example, and a treasure cruise, and we negate Tyvar's Last Stand. And I think we keep these cards because they're both very good. So their first Oculus is dead. They do not have the cards in graveyard at the moment to cast a second Oculus. I'm going to leave Treasure Cruise for next turn in case I needed to bring my Phoenixes back. But they're dead on board. A single Oculus isn't enough to stop them from being dead on board. Archaeologist doesn't do anything meaningful. And I think they could have something. I'm not super familiar with the exact deck list. They could have... Alright, another Neoform. But we're just going to Flood Maw it, and even if we didn't Flood Maw it, this isn't enough. Yep, they could play a tap land and concede. Alright, that was fun. We've hit gold. We are officially sort of in the less embarrassing part of the ladder, so that's nice. And we do another one. Instant match. Yeah, we have an op. We have lots of interaction. Eventually we can Treasure Cruise to refill. Seems perfectly good. It's not an amazing hand, but the thing with the Phoenix deck is it sort of needs like 10 cards to do anything. So your starting hands are always going to be missing something, pretty much. Alright, I'm going to Sleight of Hand, Sorcery. I should have taken a land there. I didn't realize I was missing one. I should have taken a land. It's awkward putting a Phoenix to the bottom, but missing a land drop is worse. Sylvan Scrying. Thespian Stage. So this is going to be the Twiddle Storm, I guess. They grab Otawara of all things? Why? Why Otawara? Well, I'm going to play a tap land. Can't do anything with 2 mana. Can't do anything with 3 mana either. Alright, I'm going to play an Artist Talent. Still kind of bricked. Need more cantrips. Yep. There's the Lotus Field. And they're copying it. Opponent is officially doing the thing. I'm going to make my spells cheaper. So my hand is awful against them. They don't really do creatures. They can even get rid of my only good card. Strict Proctor with a 3rd Lotus Field. Well, I can play a Phoenix. I can attack with the Phoenix. And I can kill their Strict Proctor in case they needed to get the 4th Lotus Field down. This is a Kama Primal Calamity. Vigilance, Reach, Trample. Yup. Of course. And they did have the 4th Lotus Field, and now they are untapping their lands. So they're probably going to destroy me here. Alright. So that's 8 mana. Fae of Wishes, they can get whatever they want. We'll see what they get. An Emergent Ultimatum, they can't cast that currently, but they could probably untap their lands again. Yep. Hidden Strings gives them 2 more Lotus Field untaps. What on earth does Cypher do? That's a weird card. Alright. And then the Emergent Ultimatum, and they get 3 things that kill me. Which is going to be Omniscience, something, and something. And it's going to be Omniscience, Leer, and Pore Over the Pages. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? Because that gives them basically infinite mana. That gives them literally infinite mana. Yep. They can execute their combo, because it's kind of a funny combo. So they're going to untap their mana. They're going to get their Leer, which is going to let them flashback like a whole bunch of stuff, including Emergent Ultimatum. And they Pore Over the Pages to untap more mana. So that's like a +1. Costs 5, gives them 6. And another Pore Over the Pages. Costs 5, gives them 6. So now they're at 9 mana. They can probably do something, I would assume. They just pass. Okay. Lightning Axe the Leer. So the Zakama has reach. So I'm going to Treasure Cruise as best as I can, which is going to cost me most of my mana, and maybe they'll draw me into something. It did not. We're going to pass the turn and watch them go crazy again. So they can Zakama to kill my Phoenixes, of course. And just gain 3 life, I guess. It's the only option they have. Alright, so they have fully untapped. What do you have for me this time? Just an attack for 10. And another Strict Proctor. And cast the Fae of Wishes. And then untap their lands. And I'm just letting them do as much as they want. So they can get the Fae of Wishes back, which will let them grab another thing. So what are they going to grab this time? Approach of the Second Sun, that makes sense. And they're going to generate a bunch of mana, cast their Approach, and then draw through a bunch of cards, cast their Approach again. And that'll be that. Alright, well, we have untapped somehow. I guess we kill a Strict Proctor. And we cast another Treasure Cruise. We can exile the Arclight Phoenix this time. It does not matter. Yep, and we pass. And they're going to attack me, but I'm not actually dead. I have the lightning axe to make this mildly more annoying for them. So I go to 1. I go to 1, and they're going to draw a bunch of cards, untap their lands. Yeah, so this is a whole thing. And they just need to draw like another 2 cards, or they could randomly Dark Petition for it immediately, which is fine. Now they approach, and I die. Alright. On to the next game. And we are bringing in Counter Magic. They don't do enchantments, so a null is out. Although they might have, like, sideboard Rest in Peace or something. Brazen Borrower might be able to interact with their combo. Iconoclast and Crackling Drake can just end the game very quickly. I think Brazen Borrower is probably bad. And certainly all of these removal spells are no good. And I guess we can have 1 Brazen Borrower just as yet another creature to try to beat them down with Prophet's Eidetic Memory in the first couple of turns, rather than, you know, doing anything else. Alright, so this is Sleight of Hand Triple Mystic Dispute. I think we're going to keep this and see if it is possible to counter magic our way through their combo. Turn 1 Sleight of Hand, grab us a Consider. Just cantripping into cantrips so that we can cantrip into cantrips. Alright, and now play a second basic island. We consider its instant speed. Alright. I don't think Spell Pierce is going to make it. I think 3 Mystic Disputes is either going to be enough, or Counter Magic total just isn't going to be enough. It's going to be one of the two. Alright, they have 3 mana. Annoyingly, still no... You know, I say annoyingly. It's good that they don't have a Lotus Field yet. It's very good for me. But it means I could have kept like a aggressive Pheonix hand and been beating them down. How is my graveyard looking? Still only 3. I'll opt into the opt so that I can opt into another opt. Alright, there's Artist's Talent. We're going to keep that. And play it. I think we want to keep up double Mystic Dispute. Scry 2, draw a card, put a land onto the battlefield. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say please don't do that. And Sleight of Hand will be the last card before Treasure Cruise is good. Alright, so there's the Strict Proctor. The Lotus Field is coming. Alright, I have 7 cards in my graveyard. I can Treasure Cruise. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And discard a Sleight of Hand. And I can consider... discard a Spire Bluff Canal. Alright. We have a Brazen Borrower, which is something. But I don't want to put down the shields. I think there's a very good chance double Mystic Dispute will be enough to stop them, at least temporarily. So they have 6 mana currently. They can go up to 7 or 10 next turn. Vizier is being cast. That seems wrong. Mr. Proctor is getting into the red zone. I'm going to opt. Throw in an extra land. Alright, Third Path Iconoclast is great. That means I can start applying pressure to some extent. Prophecytic Memory as well. Boop-a-doo. Make a 1/1. And I think we discard the Brazen Borrower to draw another Brazen Borrower. And this we can decline. And we end the turn and see if this will double Mystic Dispute will be enough. We do have the Vizier, which is a lot of mana. If they don't need all of that mana, if they do need all of that mana, then I can stop them. Dark Petition for not Spell Mastery is fine by me. It's kind of late in the game for that to not have Spell Mastery. Hidden Strings. I think I let them do their thing and try to catch the payoff. Just because, like, if I Mystic Dispute the Hidden Strings now, they just do it again next time, and, like, that seems bad. Alright, Pore Over the Pages is draw 3, discard a card. I think that is worth fighting over, because that's actually value. Alright, and they're just attacking for 1. And Hidden Strings post-combat. Alright, that's annoying. So they're going to have a lot of mana again. And they're going to cycle another Vizier to get even more mana. And what do you do with all of this mana? 7 blue mana. Is it like Hardcast Omniscience? No, Omniscience is 10, right? Alright, they're going back. They need a different color, it looks like. Or they've just messed up horribly. They need red. And they just pass. If you say so. I could Otawara their Vizier to try to pinch them on mana some more. I'm just going to run out a Crackling Drake. So now they are officially like going to die next turn if they don't go this turn. So this is their last chance, so anything I can do to stop them, temporarily even, will happen. I just don't know if that's all of their mana for the turn and they're banking on getting 2 more back. That's not an uncounterable one. So I think they can Vizier a Lotus Field to get this in play, but I also think it's possibly... I don't know. Doesn't really matter, but they're going to have to use all of their mana just getting it in play. And then I guess they can kill the Crackling Drake and the Iconoclast and say we're good there, but... Yep. Alright, so now we need to draw a bunch of cards this turn and just kill them. So they do have another untap. I don't think they haven't been able to do anything with like 4 mana up to this point. So this is, yes, this is going to be 6 mana ish. Oh, they get doubled, so they're going to have a lot. Alright, they're getting a land. They're getting another Lotus Field. I think they should have blown up the Prophet's Eidetic Memory. Like, I think if they untap next turn, mana is not the bottleneck. Okay, so they're going to do their ultimatum, I think, now. Yeah, they just pass. So this is the time. This is where we need to go crazy with Prophet's Eidetic Memory to steal us this game. We need to be drawing cards. That's 2 Pheonixes in the bin. And another Picklock Prankster. So that's 1 spell. This is 2 spells. And Treasure Cruise is going to be drawing us a bunch of cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is 3 spells. Which sure, we'll take another card draw, which even gets us a negate. Alright. Well, I guess we'll play out. So this is our endgame. We have a giant token. We have... Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. The Twiddlestorm deck has done their thing and then died anyway. Alright, I think I'm happy with my sideboarding. I'm just going to have to get a miracle like that again. This is a whole lot of nothing. This is great. I'm tempted to throw back a land and say we'll just find one naturally. I like all of my cards, so... Alright, Spell Pierce is a decent draw. Sylvan Scrying. If I can just stop them from having a Lotus Field, that would be swell. Then I'm going to run out my Artist Talent. And then next turn, we're going to try to go get a Pheonix in play. Alright, they're Sylvan Scrying. Unfortunately, can't stop it this time. They have a Lotus Field, but it's a bad Lotus Field, so that's nice. Now we do cantrips. We need a land. We need a land to get our Pheonix. Alright, cool. There's the land. This is spell number 2. I think we decline. We take Prophet's Eidetic Memory. Can't use it yet, but in the future. This opt is spell number 3. Decline again. Take the land. And we have a Pheonix. So we have a clock. Now we just need to Prophet's Eidetic Memory to ramp the clock up and kill them very soon. Maybe Crackling Drake next turn will be faster. Yeah, I think well, I think we attack them. I think they're still not going to be able to combo next turn. So I think we run out the Crackling Drake now. And we're going to try to go crazy and kill them next turn, is the plan. We already have 8, and we can easily get a lot more, assuming the sleight of hand hits. And they only have 5 mana here. Like, they are just playing out fair, quote unquote fair on curve. It's their 5th turn, they have 5 mana. Alright. It is awkward that I don't have Mystical Dispute up. I would feel very good about this if I just somehow had a 5th land and had Mystic Dispute up. Now they might be able to go here with me tapped out. Right. There's Dark Petition with Spell Mastery. We'll see. I think normally they want like 2 Lotus Fields for a lot of their stuff to be working, and they only have 1. So I think it's pretty likely we get through this. They only have 1 Lotus Field. Yeah, Hidden Strings generating a lot less mana when it's untapping a Balligated Sanctuary. Still obviously positive, but... And they concede. I guess they just went too hard, didn't have the mana, and aren't able to go again next turn. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Alright, another lucky win. We're going to play 1 or 2 more matches, I think. So we have proven that it is possible to disrupt the Lotus Field combo deck. And this hand is great. We have our colors, we have Artist Talent, we have an opposing Soulscar Mage, which die. Alright. So as I was saying, we have our color, we have an Artist Talent, we have a bunch of cantrips, we have some interaction. Eidolon is awkward. I think I pass. I make them burn themselves a bit. And then I Floodmaw it. So I guess Floodmawing this in combat is basically the same. Although I guess... Yeah, this isn't good because now they can just replay it. But it'll slow them down a bit at least, so that's nice. Mono, and probably just recast the Eidolon. So I have actually managed to save them to life. They didn't recast the Eidolon. That is great news for me. I'm going to use this opportunity to get my Artist Talent in. And probably Opt as well. Or Consider is probably better, actually. It's graveyard stuff. Alright, they're just going to Boros Charm me. Makes sense. So they are burn. They are not red-white aggro, they are burn. Alright, so I think we get rid of Picklock Prankster here. And I guess we take 2 Lightning Axes. Not super enthusiastic about them, but... we can get rid of the Eidolon and only take another 2 from it. We are down to 11, which is certainly not where we want to be. So I think we have to just like get rid of cantrips and hope to luck draw into the stuff we need. We just do not have the time to be casting Opts and such. There's Etchings of Fumano, which is going to attack me down to 9. So Eidolon is an enchantment. This is an enchantment. I think Annul is surprisingly going to be okay here. could skewer me. I'm going to consider in response. I think Lightning Axe is too awkward. I would love to consider a Pheonix into the bin. And would not love to hit 2 lands. Alright, we pick Lock Prankster. There's a very, very high chance we end up playing a 1-3. Alright, Floodmaw is pretty good. Fiery Impulse is great. So that's 1 spell. This is 2. So Floodmaw is non-land, which means it doesn't get the den. So I think I have to go through it. Yep, and as I expected, I am just playing out a Picklock Prankster. Yep, they Boris Charm me to 2, and then they Lightning Strike me or something. I'm sure the burn deck can manage to find 2 points of damage somehow. Maybe not. They're letting me Treasure Cruise at least. I think this game is still super over, but you never know. So bare minimum, I need a way to kill the den. Which none of those are. Still have 11 cards in graveyard, so I can Treasure Cruise again. And discard Shivan Reef, which is absolutely never tapping for colored mana. Alright, Lightning Axe does deal with the den. And consider to get the Pheonix into the bin. And also be our 3rd spell for the turn, so now we are putting our own pressure on. So if they don't have burn, like for the rest of the game, then we could be able to steal this. It's very unlikely, but it's possible enough to be worth trying. We are swinging for 7. And tap land, and the turn. Yep, play with fire will do it. They can pay for Spell Pierce. Alright, so it's a burn deck. They surprisingly have lots of good enchantments, so you like a null. In terms of cantrips, I think we have to drop on probably Picklock Prankster is the worst. It's 2 mana for a cantrip, which is a lot. So we'll try something like this. I don't know. Aggro decks are hard. Burn decks are even harder than your average aggro deck. Because it's not like, oh yeah, just bring in the sweeper, you'll be fine. It's like, well, you bring in the sweeper, they have 1 creature, and it feels awful. Like, you do not want to be spending your entire turn Anger of the Godsing 1 Eidolon of the Great Revel, that's for sure. Alright, well, we're going to hold up a null on turn 1 in hopes of catching a Kumano. Land, and got him! Counter target enchantment. Alright, well that was fun. Now we sleight of hand. I think we just take a land, play a Shivan Reef, and pass. So now we have Fire Impulse up. Another Kumano, which is unfortunate. Now what? Kind of wanted them to play a creature there. A 3rd Kumano. Okay, that's a lot of Kamano faces Kakazan. That's a lot. I don't think we need a fourth land super hugely. I'm going to play that tapped to save 2 life. Probably should have. I should have cast Sleight of Hand there. I don't have anything else to do with the island. So they're going to play a guy. I'm gonna either Lightning Axe it or Fire Impulse it or Torch it, depending on its size. Which will be... They're not going to play a guy? They're not going to play a guy on the turn where they have 2 Kamanos. Works for me. I'm certainly not going to complain about that. I'm going to search for an opt, and then opt for an artist's talent, I guess. But I'm not going to cast that this turn because they have creatures incoming that I need to kill to save my life total from imminent destruction. Alright. They're just going to attack. So I will torch 1. And take 1 damage awkwardly because Shivan Reef is bad. To Fire Impulse the other. And now they post-combat Soulscar Mage and Lightning Helix. I assume they're not going to let that go to waste. Yep. Alright. So now I can Artist's Talent. While they are tapped out of Prowess, I can Shivan Reef. Alright, I don't need Lightning Axe. They don't have big creatures where that would be super important. Alright, Shivan Reef is hopefully never going to be relevant again. It's dealt me like 3 or 4 damage this game, which is absurd. Lightning Helix, I'm down to 6. Boros Charm, I'm down to 2. And yeah, I mean, this is the problem with the aggro decks, right? Like you deal with their threat, you deal with their threat, you deal with your threat, and then you're at 2, and then you can't do anything. Yep. Good old Bolt Wave. What a card. Alright, well, I think we're going to call it there for today. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. And I will be... What day is it? Thursday? Yep, I will be playing Satisfactory tomorrow.